Hello movie lovers. Welcome to my channel, Quick Reel. Today, we're going to recap the movie Warcraft. The film begins with Draenor, the chieftain of the Frostwolf clan, and his pregnant wife Draka lying down and discussing the name of their future son. Draenor is then seen meeting with other Orc clans. They were all summoned by Gul'dan, who is also the leader of the Orcs. He reviews his preparations for battle, accompanied by Garona, a female half-orc, who serves as an interpreter to other races. The imprisoned prisoner asks Garona to save her child, but Gul'dan intends to suck all the life out of the prisoner's body in order to strengthen the green death magic called Fimmel, and tells Gul'dan that he's going to suck all the life out of the prisoner's body in order to strengthen the green death magic called Fell. He refused, saying that fuel is life. His goal is to provide enough magic to build a portal connecting his world to another world called Arrow in order to conquer it. For now, there are only enough prisoners to store up the magic to send out a war band of the most powerful ORC warriors. Their immediate objective is to gather more prisoners from Azeroth in order to supply more powerful magic and permanently open the portal. Duran, his wife, his lieutenant Rim, and his clan enter the portal. Dika feels pain after passing through the portal and gives birth with Gul'dan's help despite the other Orcs' objections. The baby is dying, but Gul'dan drains the life from a nearby deer and uses demonic magic to revive the baby and announce him to the warband as the newest version of the warrior on Azeroth onto Endloader. One of the king's most trusted warriors can be seen inspecting the construction of the Iron Forge. He observed a newly invented mechanical weapon called the boomstick. Before they could be thoroughly inspected, a messenger brought a letter to the effect that one of his garrisons had been attacked and that he was needed at once in the king's castle. He went to Stormwind and met a prisoner named Koger, but he was unable to cast a spell to attack him. Lo notices a strange mark on Cougar's arm, called the Shirentur. Marquet Guard explains that he was once a guardian novitiate with a sacred duty to protect the kingdom from all danger. He asked that the bodies of the slain soldiers be examined, as they might contain secrets about the attack. He was surprised when a faded green light appeared from one of the bodies and suggested he called the Guardian himself. Rotor warns them that only King Laenren can summon the Guardians, so they ride to the king's castle there. Lothar also meets his sister, Lady Terrier Run, who is also the king's wife and her son. Call. King Lin agrees to call the Watcher after learning of the threat and assigns Lothar and Koger to Carrot Sandsolid. After giving the blue ring as a message to Mabu, go to meet the Guardian Mabu. At the fortress, they're greeted by Malice. At Karen, he says that the Watcher is glad to see Lothar and leads the Watcher to the Watcher at the top of the tower. While Kadra looks around the Watcher's library, he notices a mysterious figure appear nearby, but disappears into a bookshelf. As he searches for it, the cure and gate signs shine brightly on the particular book he picks up. However, the Guardians suddenly capture him and attack him until he speaks of death, the magic that feeds on life itself. Maddie is then transported directly to King Lane and Stormwind. Along with Lothar and Koger, residents have reported being attacked by monsters and beasts. Loder tells them they need a prisoner to unearth more information. Even Koa will tell them something, but King Lane replies that he is unaware of the danger. They are in Lothar, Maddie, Koger, and a small team of soldiers enter Elwyn Forest to scout enemy tracks. They see the trees glowing green and find traces of hellish magic. They are then ambushed by a family of orcs led by Duran, resulting in casualties on both sides. Notary reports that orcs are much stronger, so don't try to overpower them. Use smart moves. Instead, he manages to cut off Blackhand's hand with a walkie fork. Koger uses his magical abilities to protect himself and Ma, while Maddie summons even more powerful magic to drain the ORs of their terrifying magic, is able to escape because his orcs contain no trace of hellish magic. The humans meet Garona, who also speaks human language, and take her prisoner, telling her that the orcs are planning to conquer her world and need her captors to feed her hellish magic. She says they come through a large green gate powered by waterfalls. The Orc camp considers it dishonorable for an ORC to flee from battle, so Blackhand is tried before Gul'dan, but Duran prevents him from doing so. He explains that an enemy sorcerer is using hell magic against him, but Gul'dan does not believe this, believing that he's the only one who can control hell. Magic Masu, Duran begins to have doubts about the fall. Mad secretly interrogates Corona in prison. She explains that Gul'dan was shown the gate by the devil. Maddie then disappears as others enter her cell. The queen gives Giona her drink and a chance to live freely and sympathizes with Galana. Garina, Lothar, and Kagr then go into the forest to scout Damon at night around a campfire. They exchange tragic backstories and begin to empathize with each other. Garona explains that green magic requires life. Just as fire requires wood, it is planned that all orcs will arrive in Arrow following the war. Bands that have already arrived as Lothar runs ahead to discuss strategy with King Lane beforehand. Verona and Kadr unexpectedly encounter Durotan and ask him to deliver a message that he wishes to meet the human chieftain in Stormwind. King Lane meets with all the other races of Azeroth to discuss the threat, but they're too preoccupied with their own lives to support the attack. Garona conveys Durotan's message to the king, King Lane, surmising that Duran is truly afraid of falling and that he cannot solve the problem on his own. Asks for help. Lothar is against the idea of meeting Duran, but King Lane is convinced by Gar Corona's portrayal of Duran, stating that Duran wants to protect his clan and that Fiel is also his enemy. The queen gives Garona her sword to protect herself and gain her trust. A guard is seen in Khadgard's room destroying all of Khadgard's research on the case and burning everything. He says he doesn't need Kadr's help, as he will take care of the fur himself. Khadgar managed to hide one of his research papers inside his robe, not burned by Maddie. The clues say something about a dark portal and a name Roddy. Despite the opposition of one of Duran's confidants, Graham Duran still meets with Lane to unite the Frost Wolf clan and humans against the Gold. But suddenly the group is ambushed by the Black Hand, who called Duran a traitor. The people retreat and Mattis' help arrives, although it is too late. He forms an impenetrable magical barrier to protect his people from the Urhodes. But Karan and some of his soldiers are separated by the barrier. Lothar are witnesses, Callan being killed by the Black Hand, but is unable to overcome the barrier to save him. Garona and Khadgar find Maddie unconscious on a cliff and take him to Callan for treatment. However, Kadr notices a green light in Mad's eyes and suspects that Mad is somehow involved in hellish magic. Kadr quickly rushes in from Callan, and he says he needs Sharon Tours. Help Duran is once again threatened, but he agrees to go along with Gul'dan's plan if Black Hand saves his people. Duran tells Drad to go with his son, whom he names Gold. Graham speaks to Gul'dan and says that Durotan poisoned the entire Frostwolf clan against green magic. Meanwhile, Kadr meets with Kirin Thor, and they despise him, but allow him to meet with Eddie, the same guardian as the Watcher. OD tells Maddie that he's infected by hellish magic and that he cannot control it. Then she disappears back in Kahan. Mao helps Maddie recover, but Maddie reveals that he was eaten away by the fall, and that Mao is sucking the life from his body. The king ponders his options in the defensive position, but Lothar suggests throwing everything at him in order to close the magical gates and make the king his top priority. Suddenly Maddie appears, and Roder expresses his anger at Maddie for indirectly killing his son. King Lane sends Loder to his cell to calm down. Corona comes to Lothar in his cell and tells him that the king has agreed to attack the gate. Loder told her that he shouldn't trust Mad, neither he nor anyone else, and that he preferred Gara to stay with him so she wouldn't get hurt, but she refused. She fights King Lane and other troops. Maddie insists that she will join them later, as she needs to make some preparations in Callan first. Kadr then arrives in Stormwind and rescues Loder from his cell. Loha insists on obeying the king, but Kadr convinces him to stop Matt in order to protect the safety of the entire Azeroth Empire. Dree takes Gold to a river where he is swept away and killed like the rest of the Frostwolf clan. Duran challenges Gul'dan to a deadly duel for the traditions of Makara and the leadership of the Orcs, and Gul'dan accepts. A magical portal then opens with May's help. Mabe is gradually turning into a demon. Gul'dan sees the portal and wants to complete his challenge immediately, but Black Hand urges him to respect tradition and continues the fight. He then deceives Duran by taking his life, causing the wrath of the other orcs. After Duran and several rebellious orcs are killed, Gul'dan gathers his fighters to counter attacks from King Lane and the humans. A big fight breaks out between them. Lo and Kodar arrive at Mr. Carrot's and witness Maddie casting a spell that opens a portal and brings more orcs to Ave. The golem Maddie created also comes to life and attacks Rotor. So Loder comes up with the idea of cutting off his head. After defeating the golem, Codger tells him to distract Maddie from casting the spell that will keep the portal open. Rotor then calls out to me, believing that his good self is still within the demonic entity, just as Maddie is about to attack Noder again. Codger's spell causes a headless golem to fall on him. Kagger attacks the demon directly to avoid being consumed by the demon's magic. Loder assures him that he can do it, and when he finally succeeds, Maddie returns to human form, and while dying, casts a spell that opens a portal directly to Stormwind. During the battle, King Lane finds the entrance to Stormwind and is pleased that the Guardians have finally helped them. He orders his forces, including Corona, to form a defensive line around the portal and release the prisoners so they can safely pass through the portal. Then Madhav dies and the portal closes, allowing the orcs to attack them behind the portal. Black Hand immediately approaches King Lane and takes the honor of killing him. However, King Lane tells them to kill Garona, as it would be meaningless if they both die by killing the king. Garona gains the respect of the orcs and is able to pave the way for peace between humans and orcs. Tala arrives in the middle of the battle, saves King Lane's body, and helps fight the remaining orcs. After losing his consciousness, he awoke in the midst of the Mukul tradition, which the Black Hand had organized to duel him. He takes King Lane's sword as a weapon and easily defeats Black Hand with one blow. The orcs respect him, even though Gul'dan orders them to kill him. However, Garona convinces him that if Gul'dan kills Lothar, he will not respect sacred tradition, and no more orcs will follow him. Elo notices Garcorona's blade stuck in the king's neck, and believing her to be her traitor, flees with the king's body. During Lane's funeral, all races of Azeroth finally united and declared an alliance against the orcs. They support Lo as the leader of the alliance. Meanwhile, Go is discovered by people in the river, and the movie ends here. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like, drop a comment, and subscribe to the channel for more exciting movie recaps. See you in the next one.